So how did it go yesterday?
Thank you. I was excited. I was very pleased and proud of the newly elected members to Parliament and seen Malcolm Roberts regain his seat in Queensland. So it was good to see Parliament and the increase in One Nation support.
And we heard there from Georgie, who spoke to a few people in and around the Melbourne area, certainly cost of living and some of the main issues, no doubt, front and centre for people, which we'll get to in a moment. But you turned your back along with other One Nation senators yesterday during the acknowledgement to country in the upper house yesterday. What was the reaction?
Well, the reaction on the Facebook post that I've put up, plus all the media and the Australian I hear, was huge support from the Australian people. And all I'm hearing is, we've had enough. We're sick and tired of this. We voted for the voice. We didn't vote for this. People find it divisive. They're fed up with it being rammed down their throats every 5 minutes. Yesterday, some people said 4 times introduced Welcome to Country. Another said 5 times that we were submitted to it. And I think it's just over the top and overdone. It's not the first time I've done it. For the last 3 years, I've turned my back in Parliament. At the beginning of a session every day, they do a Welcome to Country. Yesterday, I was supported by my colleagues, and it will be something that we will do every day. I'm not turning my back on Australians, not at all. I'm turning my back on divisive policies and tokenism that is only for 3% of Australians, and I'm standing up for those Australians. This land, it does belong to all Australians. We should be all connected to the land, which we are, not just 3% of the population. And I include all those new migrants that come to Australia. They want to feel part of this country.
You also said in Parliament yesterday that you would like to nominate Senator David Pocock to be President of the Senate. He politely declined. What was your reasoning for that?
Well, I'm not really impressed with Sue Lyons as the president at all, and I thought, well, maybe David, as an independent, might do a better job of it. But also, I would like to see David off the floor of Parliament. The last sitting of Parliament, he was responsible of supporting the government in guillotining 220 bills that were not debated on the floor of Parliament. That's not running a good government. As Albanese said, we want consultation, we want, conciliation, we actually want to debate these issues. It never did. And the same thing will happen. And David Pocock allowed that. So, I thought, well, it might be a good way to put him in a position where he can't do this anymore and put in government to stop debate on the floor of Parliament, that Australians have a right to hear how their members feel and think about matters and how they vote.
And also, we just heard Education Minister Jason Clare talking about cutting off funding for people in the childcare sector that don't meet the minimum standards. Of course, we've all heard the absolute devastation with young children of late in childcare centres, and that will be front and centre, Pauline Hanson, as you well know, in Parliament this week. We've spoken to numerous experts in the past week or so about the fact that this is not good enough for our most vulnerable. The Royal Commission into Sexual Abuse 10 years ago, still not enough done. What will you be pushing for in Parliament? What do you want to see done?
There has to be a national register of everyone who works in childcare centres. It's not good enough what has happened. Parents have a right to know who is actually with their children. Also, what I'd like to see is that childcare is costing Australian taxpayer $15 billion a year. The government wants to open it up to everyone to access it. We can't afford it. What I would like to see is a lot of parents aren't happy with childcare centres, what they teach their kids, what they're led, what they're taught. Everyone's in Welcome to Country in these childcare centres. It's just ridiculous. A lot of parents, I believe, that the money should follow the parent. If the parent actually wants to get a family member or the grandparents or someone else to look after the child, so they should. You should not be forced into childcare centres. Another that I hear from parents is to go into a childcare centre, you are forced to immunise your children. And a lot of parents don't want to do that, so they don't put their children in childcare centres, yet people are getting funded to put their by the government to put their children in childcare centres. We need a real Senate inquiry or a joint Senate, House inquiry into childcare, how it's funded, where the money goes. I want accountability, and I want people who access it to actually have a card to swipe that they are the ones who are actually receiving the services in the childcare centre, ensure that taxpayers' monies are well and truly accounted for.
All right, an important week ahead, and we'll be watching closely. One Nation leader Pauline Hanson, thank you.